Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about CPNs, what they are and how scammers are using them to commit fraud. Now, before we dive in, if you're unfamiliar with what a CPN is, it's essentially a 9-digit number often used in place of a Social Security number, SSN, by people trying to cover up bad credit. But where do these numbers actually come from? That's the big question. The IRS has clearly stated that they don't issue anything called a credit privacy number, CPN, or credit protection number. There are also numerous articles online claiming that no U.S. agency issues such numbers. So this leaves us with two possibilities. Either these agencies are keeping it secret, maybe issuing them to people in witness protection or victims of identity theft, or the entire concept of a CPN is just made up. Some people even argue that CPNs are just stolen Social Security numbers. So how do scammers get their hands on these numbers? They can obtain them in a variety of ways, whether it's through the dark web, shady contacts, or other illegal methods. Once they have a CPN or stolen SSN, they can use it to apply for credit cards, auto loans, or even mortgages. This is serious fraud we're talking about. Federal charges, so don't get any ideas. Here's how it works. A scammer will apply for a credit card online using a stolen SSN or CPN. And since everything is digital now, they can get approved and have the card shipped to them without ever showing their face. They then use the card to make purchases, max it out, and never have to worry about paying it off since the card is linked to a stolen identity. Auto loan fraud is where things get even crazier. Scammers with a bit more experience will use a CPN to create a fake identity, complete with fake documents like IDs, birth certificates, and pay stubs, all of which can be easily faked in today's digital world. Once they've built up this fake identity with a good credit score, say a 700 FICU, they go to a car dealership, apply for a loan, and drive off the lot with a high-end vehicle, like a BMW M4, after putting down a small payment. Think about it. They just got a $70,000 car for $10,000, using someone else's identity, and can then turn around and sell the car for parts or to a buyer for a huge profit. They've essentially made $60,000 in one day, all while leaving the stolen identity holder to deal with the fallout. But auto loan fraud is just the beginning. Mortgage fraud is a whole other level. I'm not talking about simple bait-and-switch tactics, where buyers are lured in with attractive terms only to be hit with fees and high interest rates later. This scam is far more sophisticated. Scammers have infiltrated the real estate market and are tricking people into buying properties they don't even own. Let me tell you a real story. In April 2023, a hard-working couple from Queensland was scammed out of over $102,000. They had been saving up for over 10 years to buy a home. After engaging a mortgage broker recommended by friends, they handed over all their personal documents, birth certificates, tax returns, pay stubs, the works. But the scammers, posing as the broker, used this information to create a fake email account identical to the real brokers. They convinced the couple to transfer $102,000 as their house deposit and then attempted to steal another $20,000 from their bank account. This is a nightmare scenario, one that could happen to anyone. And with scammers becoming more sophisticated, these kinds of cons are becoming harder and harder to spot. So, how can you protect yourself? First, always do things in person when possible. Never send personal information over the internet, even to someone you trust. Scammers can use techniques like phone spoofing to make it seem like you're getting a call or text from someone you know, like a friend or family member. For example, if I spoof your phone, I could text you pretending to be your dad, and you'd think it was legit because it shows up as his number. But it's not just texts. Scammers are now using artificial intelligence to clone voices. They could clone your father's voice, call you, and convince you to send them money, all while you believe you're talking to your actual dad. It's terrifying how deep these scams can go. At this point, it feels like you can't trust anything except an in-person conversation. And even then, you have to be careful because people are turning into unpaid informants without even realizing it. So, here's my advice. Stay vigilant. Always question things that seem off. And never share your personal information unless you're absolutely sure who you're dealing with. Scammers are getting more creative by the day, but the more cautious you are, the better your chances of avoiding these traps. Stay safe out there, and remember, if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is.